Hello, everybody, and welcome to Billy Pop's Punk Rock Podcast, the first episode. Today's episode is questions from Jerry McHat, who is actually. I found these questions like a week ago that we were planning on doing a podcast with about each other. I had some for him, but he is gone. He is in the ground, so I can no longer. I can no longer do the questions for him, but I figured as a tribute to him, I would do this podcast. Hold on, I'm going to turn the fan off. I forgot. There. That's how professional I am. Anyway, so welcome to the podcast. So this is going to get a little dark. Because, well, it just will. So, and I'm going to be, I'm known for being an open book. So, Grandma, you might not want to watch this. However, I don't care. Like I say, I'm kind of known for blabbing my mouth anyway. And, on top of it, well, it's, I don't know. I don't, want to offend anybody, but I mean at the same time there's probably going to be some swearing because I'll be telling stories perhaps, and yeah. So let's move on to the questions from Jerry McHat. By the way, I've been up all night, so this could be I'm a little tired, and that's because I have insomnia and have forever. Anyway, first question: why do you play music? I play music, as any musician probably plays music, to get shit off my chest. And to maybe sometimes give a message to people that they maybe not have thought of. Or something like that. I also play because, I enjoy playing it. But a lot of it has to do with things I want to say. So, I guess, obviously, I think anybody that's a musician has to play music. It's just a given. Next question: what is your favorite kind of music? Well, anybody who knows me knows it would be punk rock. Now, why do I love punk rock? I'm just gonna say that for a second. Because it's the best music in the world, and you can pretty much do anything with it. There's punk has always brought in other genres with it. So there's been rap punk, there's been country punk, there's been jazz punk, there's been reggae punk, there's been metal punk. The list just goes on and on. So you can really do anything with that kind of music, and you can write about anything you want, because there isn't like with country, it's always usually about being an outlaw for the old stuff, or like nowadays it's about like girls and things like that. Whereas I'm just not. I like the fact that in punk rock you can sing in one song maybe about a girl, but the next song you can also sing about, like, taking too much Tylenol and throwing up or whatever. So punk rock's always been kind of my favorite genre anyway, and yeah. Top 5 bands and why? Okay, well, the Stooges, because Iggy and the Stooges, Iggy Pop's the godfather of punk, of course, and first stage diver, supposedly. And I mean, you got the album Funhouse, which is like my favorite record pretty well. I don't know. Iggy Pop was just awesome. And it was like, when that music came out, it was in the hippie era. And that's when things were kind of like peace and love. Whereas these guys were like, nope, fuck that. We're into heroin and, sex and just bleeding and things like that. Like, I don't know, I just love that. So yeah, the Stooges, probably my number one favorite. These aren't in any order really, but the Misfits, because without the Misfits, well, I will add Sublime in there, but I'm not like a huge, like, I love Sublime, but they're not in the same thing. But the Sublime and Misfits taught me how to sing pretty well. Yeah, so mainly for that. I don't really know which Misfits era I prefer. Danzig and Michael Graves both have good stuff going on. No Effects, simply because they love having fun, and they have way too big of an album catalog. I'm going to say that right now, but I love NoFX because they don't take themselves too seriously, and whenever you go to a NoFX show, you're going to have a good time. And yeah, they're totally unafraid to say and do things that other people really don't. As far as like, so the next band I'm going to mention is No Cash, and I had a hard time with this one because No Cash was sort of my favorite in the crust punk genre, which is like politically charged, kind of nihilistic music. I like them a little more than Leftover Crack, and Days and Days, and Johnny Hobo and the Fright Trains and all that. Although Johnny Hobo taught me how that I could make a punk album without a band, so that was cool. But no, I think No Cash is probably the tightest in all of that, which Days and Days is pretty fucking close. And the next one, I couldn't really think of the next one really off the top of my head, so I just went with Get Dead, because Get Dead, they're newer, but they're not that new, but they're new to me, and Get Dead is awesome, man. They infused hip hop with punk, and I do have to say too, as far as that goes, like, I was so bummed because they did infuse it, but me and my brother were like listening to it, and I was like, wouldn't that be sick if we were like, it would never happen, but I was like, wouldn't that be sick if our group was like the first rap group on Fat Records, because Get Dead got on Fat Records, and sure enough, Sam King from Get Dead and Fat Mike for NoFX put out an album with some other dude called Co-Defendants. This is a crime wave or something it's called, and it was like punk infused with rap. So I was like, shit. I was like, they already did it, but we would be just solid rap. But it'll never happen. What projects am I in now? I am in, my own. You can look me up on SoundCloud, my group. It's me, Billy and the Gutter Snipes. I do all sorts of weird experimental shit with Billy and the Gutter Snipes. It's just my own little thing that I've always done. Of course, I do the Dumpster Collective, which is the rap group with my brother, and a couple friends are there once in a while. Some have gone, some have left on good terms, some have left on bad terms. Either way, no big deal. In the end, I appreciate everybody that was ever in the Dumpster Collective. But yeah, me and my brother, we do that. But I think we have a SoundCloud too, so you can check out the Dumpster Collective on SoundCloud. There's another person using our name though, and it's like a techno guy or something. Here's where it gets a little dark. Do you really hate your mom? Is the question. No, I don't hate my mom. I made her think I hate her. But no, most of my life have been pretty tongue-in-cheek. And my mom probably thinks I'm like a sociopathic, narcissistic freak. But that was kind of my intention. I don't hate my mom. I don't like my mom. I think that she doesn't understand what real love is, and she can't ever admit to being wrong, and she's selfish, and that's why I don't like my mom. I don't hate her though. I mean, I don't know. That's a loaded question. Especially because Jerry McHat has known me through a lot of time, and he's seen me go on and off again with my mom. But I had enough. I was just like, I'm done doing this. It's whatever. It's just not for me, and we don't get along, and I'm just sick of trying. So simple as that. I can give you reasons behind it, but that's a whole another thing, I guess. I mean, I got my reasons, but unless you care to ask in the comments or something, I'll probably never answer that. By the way, shout out to Jim's little buddies. It's gonna be not. You guys are all 15, so I guess you'll be okay after this podcast. And by the way, there will be other groups I should mention. I'll be interviewing people for this podcast next time. This is just the first one, so I figured might as well do me first. Next question: is your sister a prostitute? She was. Not let me clarify, not my sister that is living in the province I'm in, but my sister in Saskatchewan. Yes, indeed, she is or was. I don't know what she's doing now. It's hard to get a hold of her. She's a good person, like absolutely love her, and wish nothing but the best for her. But she likes drugs. I'll say that much. So, and not the ones that you can revive people with Narcan. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're almost safer to do fucking some other shit. So, I don't know. It's fucking, it sucks, but it is what it is, and I wish her nothing but the best. I hope that answers that question. Tell me about your Grandpa Anderson. Oof. Okay. This is where it's going to get really bleak, and I'm going to have to use baby language because it's YouTube. My grandfather on my mother's side was apparently, I want to point out, I grew up in a Catholic family, which made me not really like church that much. And I don't hate people for having their, religion or whatever. I don't care, but it's just not for me. And I think it's because there's so much darkness shrouded in it for me and my family. My grandfather was known for diddling my, family members. For, diddling my cousins and my mom and shit like that. So, I don't know how true any of it is. You know what I mean? But that always... I learned it at a very young age, the age of 8. When he died, I was not sad. Everyone was crying, and I have to admit, I was, good, whatever. And I was only 8 at the time, or something like that. So maybe I was a little older than 8. I learned about it when I was 8. But I'm just saying, what can you say, man? Yeah, that was a very bleak part of my family history, and to this day, I never go a day without thinking about that. It's just, that's part of the reason I don't talk to my mom, is because my mom is so obsessed with dark shit that's happened to her that it never goes away. So I'm hoping one day it goes away. I'm hoping maybe talking about this right now maybe helps. Anyway, I'm going to move on. Are you good at making friends? Yeah, I am. But some people might tell you I'm also really good at making enemies. I do a lot of... Okay, I don't really like people usually, but I'm learning to be better at that. But also, let's just say I've done stuff in the past that I don't necessarily agree with, that goes against who I actually am sometimes. And we all make mistakes. A lot of my friends have made mistakes with me too. Thinking the wrong things or whatever, it doesn't matter. But, hell, yeah. I'm good at making friends, but holy shit, I'm also pretty damn good at making enemies with people. And it's too bad because I've always cared about everybody that I cared about very deeply, but sometimes when people disappoint you, and I'm not saying that I'm out of the loop with that. Oof. But sometimes people disappoint you, just as I have done to others. People are born for that, they're born to disappoint. So, all I can say is that you too might be really good at making friends. Maybe not, but if you are, the more friends you make, probably eventually the more enemies you'll have. I mean, I don't consider anybody I know my enemy. Don't get me wrong. I don't look at people like that, and I choose to believe that people want the best for everyone, even if you don't see eye to eye. But, yeah. I mean, I don't got no enemies, man. Maybe Kesha. But that's just because I don't like her music. So, yeah, Nickelback, you're in there, too. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, as people, I'm sure they're fine. I just don't like their music. But, anyway. Yeah. Am I good at making friends? Yeah, sure. Whatever. Point of view on religion. What's my point of view on religion? Yeah, I'm fine with it. I don't know. I don't really believe any of it. Oh, shit. I forgot something. I'm sorry. I'm going to go back to what projects am I in now. I am actually also working on a reggae project with my friend from Jamaica, Ryan Ricketts. He's become one of my best friends. Maybe he'll be my enemy one day. But right now, we're best friends, and or he's one of my best friends. And he's awesome, and he's funny. And we were actually talking about doing it. The reason I thought of it when I came up with religion is because he's a religious guy. But he said, I asked him, I was like, we're doing reggae. And I asked him, I was like, well, it's, Pride Month, whatever. And there's lots of pride going around, and who cares? But I was like, should we write a song called Gay Ray? Because it's reggae. And it could either be like about a guy named Ray who's gay, or it could be like a Ray that turns you gay or something. And yeah, he didn't want to do it, but I'm gonna wear him down. Anyway, point of view on religion, I don't care. Be who you want to be, just don't put it on other people. That's pretty much it for me. Another loaded question that my grandma and grandpa would just be happy to hear about, but there we go. Point of view on drinking and drug use. Well, okay. I don't think the way that I drink is healthy. I drink a lot and too often, and it's more just a habit than it is for fun. Which I think drinking should be for fun. It should. If you're with a group of friends and you're camping, yeah, fun. You're at a party, fun, yeah. But if you're doing it by yourself, like I always do, it's not good for you. Drug use depends. What kind of drug user are you? Are you somebody that's addicted to drugs? Because then it's bad. But there's things like mushrooms that I think everyone should try at least once, and that's because, and I don't think it's to get high. I think you should try mushrooms because there's something to them. They open doors in your mind, and people that have never done them might not understand that, and that's okay. But you don't have an opinion then because you've never done them. So, as far as it goes, I can tell you I've done damn near every drug on the planet, for sure. Not all of them, but lots of them, and I think they all have their own thing, and I think some of them you could just throw out. But I did say this once, and some of you, even some of my enemies that might be watching this, will get this joke. But ketamine in the same day ruined my life and then saved my life. And by that, I'm just going to say, I moved to 3 different places since I moved to the city I'm in, and I've done nothing but go up. Now I'm living in suburbia. So, it ruined my life at that moment, but then my life kind of changed in this upward trajectory. So, it ruined my life for about an hour and a half, and then my life got better. So, I did some stupid shit that night, but in the end, it was worth it. So, yeah, I don't have an opinion. My opinion is I've done everything, or my view on it. I don't think everybody should do everything. I think you should be very cautious, but know yourself. Have some self-respect. That's basically it. Is my best friend dead? Well, I changed that question because the original question was, have you had any friends that have died? But the question is now, is my best friend dead? Well, Jerry McHat, you were my best friend, because guess what? My best friend was Jerry McHat. You know why? Because Jerry McHat was Bailey Matthew Mitchell. And yes, he is dead. He died of a fentanyl overdose. And if I would have just been there with the Narcan needle, I could have saved him, but I wasn't there. And he died, I don't know, probably, I don't even remember how long it's been now. But needless to say, he quit fentanyl finally. So, yeah, he's dead. How did you become homeless? Well, my parents. I came home dressed as a goth kid. I used to have the black nail polish and the eyeliner, which would freak any parent out, I'm sure, at any time. Maybe not me if I was a parent, but I'm kind of cool. But I was trying to be cool and pick up goth chicks and blah, blah, blah. And But nobody got that out of my family because they're like, oh, what the hell? He's like a transvestite or something. So yeah, needless to say, I got sent to Salvation Army and I got put there. I walked back home from Regina, Saskatchewan to Disley, Saskatchewan, which nobody knows where that is. Well, I walked to Lumsden, got a ride for the school bus back to town. My stepdad, fuck it, I'm going to say his name, Ken Rempel, from Ken's Crash Clinic in Saskatchewan. He fucking drove me back to Salvation Army. I was 14, I should mention. I'm going to keep saying that. So I'm just a kid. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And, yeah, I was homeless for quite a while. I mean, I was living on the streets of Regina Beach for a long time. I mean, sometimes I got to stay with friends and stuff, but I didn't know what I was doing. I was smoking too much weed and eating donuts every day. Like, I didn't know what the hell to do. And, yeah, I got a lot of stories about that. That's for another time, but, yeah, that's pretty much how I became homeless. I wore makeup. I was also stealing weed and stuff from them. But I think about it, I'm like, if my kids were stealing my weed and trying to look cool, like, wouldn't you just maybe give them chores to do so they could earn the weed or something, and then maybe just accept the fact they're teenagers and trying to look cool? I just don't fucking really get the point. Anyway, my grandparents' event, that's why I don't want them to watch this, because I love them so much, and I don't want them to think any less of me, and I hope they don't. But, they took me in, and I've always fucking respected them for that. I've always thought that they were, like, the coolest people for that. I was not an easy teenager, but the one thing my grandma did tell me back then was, but before I went back home, she said, because I did get to go back home, but then I just left. She did tell me, she said, Dustin, you were like, yeah, my real name is Dustin. She goes, Dustin, you are like a typical teenager. There's nothing wrong with you. And I was like, wow, really? Well, I'll be, just a confused kid, just like any other teenager. But, yeah, I was sent by my parents to go live with anybody else so that someone else could fix me. But it turned out I was actually just a regular person. So, if you're a homeless kid, I do want to say, I'm sorry. Your parents are fucked. And they're stupid. And you're worth more than that. Unless you're being a dumbass. There is a difference. Every kid's a dumbass. But parents also have to figure out how to raise their kids. They need to figure out how to appeal to their kids' minds. I've never raised a kid, but I've been around a lot of them. And I gotta say, most young people like me. So, there you go. That's my inspiration to you. So the question was, how did you become homeless? And the next question is, did that experience affect the lyrics in your songs? Yes. Originally, very much so. My whole first Vagrant, my first demo with Billy and the Gutter Snipes was called Vagrant's Day Off, which I always loved that title. But yeah, those songs were all very much based off of, they were kind of like a rock opera of that whole part of my life. So you got songs like How to Kill a Pig, about how much I hated cops at the time, and you had songs like Loser Lullaby about how depressed I was, and things like that, and songs like, I don't know, there was so many of them just about depression and panhandling and not having money and not giving a fuck that I wasn't working and just not understanding life in general. So the whole album is it's almost like a damaged person's brain. I personally don't like playing the songs off that album anymore because they remind me of that part of my life. But I still get requests for some of those songs once in a while. But honestly, I don't even remember most of them. But I do like some of them. Like Loser Lullaby is like one of my favorite songs I think I've ever written. It was just perfect. Gave out the perfect vibe I wanted. But until I write a song as good as Summer Side of Life by Gordon Lightfoot, I'll just keep writing until that song comes out of me. I don't want... That'll happen, sorry. A little indigestion. what is the message you want to give to the world? Well, I guess be kinder to each other. Uh, Understand each other, try to, and don't judge people so much. And, just in general, be a better person. Because, like, if you don't try and change, especially if you don't try and learn, then you've already, if you're like, I know everything already, then there's nothing left to learn. So you're shielding yourself from learning something. And, like, I'm not talking about learning how to, like, I don't drive, for one thing, so I never learned that, but that's because I don't care. I never have, and I never wanted to. So that's my problem. I have to deal with that in my life, but at the same time, I hate it. I hate the whole idea. But, I mean, at the same time, yeah, be understanding and don't take people for granted. And also, maybe, like, if somebody's fucking mad at you, maybe try and understand why they're mad at you before you go and judge them immediately. Because the truth is, that's been one of my big things in life, is me either being mad at someone else or them being mad at me. And then you don't get to, you don't see eye to eye. You'll never see eye to eye. If especially, point your finger three or pointing back type thing, going into anything with tunnel vision never works out. It's just the way it is. So, yeah. I'm trying to think of anything else I can say to you guys before this is over. I did expect this to be a lot funnier, but I'm just, like, so tired. I don't know. Don't be racist. I mean, the obvious shit. I don't know. Like, what message do you want to give the world? Like, don't make music for profit because it's stupid and you'll just be shoved into a corner, be a mass-produced box person that doesn't even get to do your own art the way you want to do it. Don't be peer pressured in anything. Be yourself. Just generally be a good person, because if you're not a good person, guess what you are? You're a bad person. Yeah, so you don't want to be a bad person, do you? Things like money and things like that stuff is not worth striving for. Sure, I mean, if you want to have all that, but guess what? Money does not buy happiness. I'm sorry. And anybody who says it does is somebody that either... Usually it's people that have never had money that say that. And I've never had money, but I'm telling you, man. You give me $1 million, I'll blow through that in like a year. And I won't have nothing to show for it because I just don't care about money, man. I'd be giving money away and being an idiot with it. I really would. It's the truth. I am not a money person. I will probably always be poor. But that's okay with me. It's all I need in my life is a guitar and a pack of smokes and a sandwich. Cigarette and a sandwich, I'm good. Guitar. Anyway, this is probably boring. I've been talking for half an hour. Yeah. I'm just going to call it quits. I don't want to end this. I'm probably terrible at this, by the way. I can't wait till I have someone to interview. But yeah, I'm bad at this. So, enjoy the rest of your day. Go outside and play, and don't listen to me because I'm not that smart. So, yeah. Bye. Good night, podcast people.